Winded City Countdown, boys. It's episode 50. Matt, I was hoping you'd wear your. Hey, that's some loud noise for somebody moving their microphone.
That was me.
Yeah. Maybe don't do that because that's still really loud. Episode 50. We're halfway to 100, guys. Officially tonight. I was hoping Matt would be in a tuxedo. Instead, he's on my porch, freezing cold in a hoodie. And
if I would have realized today was 50, I would have put on some nicer clothes.
Like you did for our Emmy Award night.
Oscars,
that's right. And Ben Russo joining us, and he's in one of his better moods today for reasons that we won't discuss publicly.
There you go.
Yeah. But in a great mood nonetheless, Ben.
Yep.
And let's talk about one of those things that's maybe putting us all in a great mood. The Cubs. The countdown is on. We're recording on a Wednesday. So not counting today, we have 9 days until the playoffs begin for the Cubs. We have no idea who the opponent is going to be because they will play the winner of the one-game wild card. But here we go. It is on now for the Cubs, and Jake Arrieta was not good tonight. Not good, Jake. We're getting into good Jake, bad Jake territory here. It feels like.
Yeah.
We had good Jake against the Cardinals. We have bad Jake against the Pirates. But it is what it is. I mean, this game doesn't mean a damn thing tonight. They've won 101 games. It's still an 8-4 game right now in the eighth, so maybe they come back and do some stuff. But you could see like Rizzo. They got Rizzo out of the game tonight. Fowler's gotten out of the game. Zobrist has gotten out of the game. Coughlin's out of the game. Montero's out of the game. So Joe's mixing and matching here. He's not playing this like a real playoff game. But the Cubs, though, we wait for the playoffs, and while we wait, we get news today that Theo Epstein is going to be here for 5 more years at least. Ben, how do you feel about Theo Epstein being here for 5 more years? I don't know if Ben can hear me because I just asked him to answer.
I didn't hear you ask me anything.
I asked how you feel about Theo getting 5 more years with the Cubs.
5 more years, then you just staring. That's what
I
saw.
I definitely asked you. So,
well, obviously it's big. I mean, there's nothing short of that. I mean, there was rumors flying around all this season. You know, when's the deal going to get done? When's the deal going to get done? People saying, "Oh, I don't know if he's going to stay." People saying he might wait till the off season. If the Cubs win the World Series, he might walk. I didn't know what to believe. I just kind of kept believing what they said is it'll eventually get done. It'll eventually get done. On top of the Epstein extension, you got an extension for Jed Hoyer and Jason McLeod. Both huge. I mean, I thought for sure McLeod was going to Minnesota to be their GM up there. They brought him in for an interview, but they ended up.
He could. Oh, did they sign someone in Minnesota?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they went with I forget what his name is, but yeah, no, they already told him he's out. That's why he got the extension. I'm pretty sure today. So, I think it's only a matter of time for him. But keeping this core together. The rumor for the Epstein deal is 5 years, $50 million, in the neighborhood of $50 million is what they said. So it's just a massive deal. It's good to see the best. I mean, is there really? I don't even know if we could really debate it at this point, but I mean, he's the best mind in baseball, right? For a front office guy,
who would even come close at this point? I mean, honestly, who even comes to mind?
I mean, the guy out in L.A. that Friedman.
Friedman, yeah, that's the only name that I could think of.
And I mean, again,
but what
you look
Friedman
at the
actually won?
Well, no, but he was a mastermind with what he had in Tampa Bay. It's like Joe Madden. It's like saying Joe Madden wasn't a good coach because Tampa Bay finished under 500 a couple times with him. But if you really just look at it, the Cubs and the Boston Red Sox, they're the number 1 teams in the National League and the number 1 teams in the American League. And yeah, I'm not saying Theo built Boston completely, but most of those top guys are there because of Theo Epstein. So the guy just knows how to do it, and it's just exciting with such a young team that the Cubs have now. That he's going to continue to build up that minor league system and just keep developing players. Is Scott talking? I can't hear him.
I think Scott is trying to talk and we can't hear him right now. So I will continue on this. He may have to bounce out and come back in. Excuse me. Yeah, I think as big as Theo coming back, obviously for 5 years, is knowing that they're getting now have numbers or years or anything come out on McLeod and Hoyer at this
No,
point?
the only thing that's come out has been 5 years in the neighborhood of $50 million. I don't think there's been anything. I thought I read it was 5-year deals for each of them, but I don't know for sure. So,
Can you hear me now?
yes,
Okay. So the point I was going to make, Ben, I was going to jump in on you there. With Friedman, Epstein left the Red Sox, and the Red Sox are still the foundation of the Red Sox are still from what Theo built there.
right.
And
That's
I think what separates Friedman and Epstein for sure is Friedman left Tampa, and Tampa Bay is now not.
It's not. It's not.
And
the
I know
same
it's.
thing.
I know it's not. It's not.
It's not even.
the
It's
same,
not even
but-
close to. It's not even close because Tampa Bay has to trade everybody every year. They just have to continue to flip guys because they can't.
They
can't
don't have the pocketbook.
No, I understand that. I'm just saying though, like, Tampa doesn't even look close at the moment, though.
And don't forget, Tampa Bay also lost their coach. Arguably the best manager in baseball at the same time. So
At any rate, Theo, it's awesome that he's with the Cubs for longer. And I would say that
I was surprised. I was surprised it was a 5-year deal.
What did you think it would be shorter, longer?
I thought it would be shorter, just because. I don't know that. It just feels like Theo doesn't want to be the president of the Cubs for the rest of his life. Like, it feels like there's something else there. I don't know what, but there was the rumors that he may have wanted partial ownership of the Cubs. Obviously, I don't think he got that, but you never know. It just feels like he's destined for more than just being the president of the Chicago Cubs.
Well, and it also comes to, okay, let's say Epstein, maybe not this year, but within this range of the next 5 years, wins at least one World Series, maybe more than one World Series. What more does that guy need to do in Major League Baseball? You know what I mean? Like,
I'd love to see him be
what's the
commissioner.
next frontier?
Commissioner?
Yeah, but that's something I don't even know how that's attainable for him, to be completely honest.
I
Especially
don't.
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, but right, like, that's really it, isn't it? I mean, if it's not.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like he's going to jump into other sports and all of a sudden become like this genius basketball scout or something like that. But it's just, he seems like the type of, because he's had so much success at such an early age, it's like, what's next? What's next sort of thing. So I honestly wouldn't be surprised if he's out of baseball within the next 10 years.
And just doing something.
Something, yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
The only thing the first thing that came to mind was like ownership somewhere, like that.
Yeah, well,
here's why I think these sports guys, the one thing that always seems to be true, even about the best, is they're lifers, right? Like, a lot of these guys don't go on and do anything else. Like, once you're in, and you just kind of stay there. I mean, the first time Theo said he was walking away from the Red Sox, he was gone for what? 3 months, a month, 2 months. I don't know. Like, I read that ESPN had a really nice piece about Theo and the Cubs and what Theo has done with the Cubs and who Theo Epstein is and everything. It's like a really cool feature. So, I mean, he tried walking away once, and then he walked away from the Red Sox to go restart the Chicago Cubs essentially from the ground up. I mean, I don't know. I mean, if he does it with the Cubs, I mean, maybe the Indians don't do it for a few years and he tries to go and do all what he's done with the small market team. Maybe he becomes a special advisor to baseball. These guys are baseball lifers. I mean, that's the way I see it, at least. I just don't see him ever being out of baseball. There will always be a need for Theo Epstein from someone, and somebody will. I mean, if Theo wins it with the Cubs, I mean, he could just name his price if that's what it were to come to. For him.
And it makes you wonder if there's something in the business world maybe that tickles his fancy or something. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like there's I don't know, that baseball, if he wins another World Series and he wins it here in Chicago, it's like, is winning one with Cleveland 10 years down the road really that special? You know what I mean?
I just wouldn't put it past, like you guys say, like he's not going to go do basketball or football or whatever it is. I mean, I just don't want to say that you can put it past him. I mean, what it seems right now is he has some sort of formula. A formula none of us will know, as far as something along the lines of developing young players, building a core, and then making the splashes for the big free agents. Now, obviously in Boston, the big splash free agents didn't necessarily work out 100%. Lester so far is working out here. Hayward, obviously, jury's still out on that. Got another 7 years to figure that one out. But I wouldn't put it past him. I mean, you look at, there's already been one baseball executive who's jumped to football, Paul DePodesta, going to the Browns. Maybe Theo tries his hand somewhere else. I don't know. I'm pure speculation. But yeah, it seems like.
But it also seems like no other sport lends itself to that sort of development at baseball.
Well, because they're not willing to let them. That's why
yeah, for sure. I mean, the thing in Cleveland could work if, and that's a big if they get the time to do it. So
right. And then remember, Theo also said that 10 years with a team is kind of the cap. So we've had our 5. You got another 5. This just kind of seems it for what it is. Hopefully we get at least one World Series out of it, and we'll move on from there.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the next 5 years and what Theo has in store for himself beyond. But I just, like I said, I stand by the fact that I think he's a baseball lifer. I really do, especially after reading that piece about who he is and how he got into baseball. And I mean, the guy did simulations of baseball games on his, Commodore 64 back when nobody else was doing that stuff. And like, he subscribed to Bill James when 100 people were subscribing to Bill James. I mean, the guy just, since he was a kid, has loved baseball. It just seems hard to believe that he won't take a job elsewhere and be something with baseball. And maybe it's, we talk about making changes to the game for the better. If there, you would think if there's ever a guy with outside the box thinking that people respect and want to see do those things, maybe Theo gets involved with Major League Baseball and pushes some of those changes toward the future. All of this comes today, as the USA Today, I believe, had the original story that the White Sox are going to stay status quo, which is just, it seems unfathomable.
Hilarious how one side of town has great.
Let's
go ahead.
Let's remember that Ventura it doesn't have a contract.
True.
So
a lot of people were speculating that he already got a new deal or something, which he didn't.
Yeah, there was a lot of reports to that. So here's my theory on it. Maybe I'm way overthinking this, but just kind of the history of Jerry Reinsdorf and how he wants to be best friends with everybody and never wants to fire anybody. My thought on this, when it first broke, I was like, what an idiot. And then I started thinking about it. Maybe this is the route they're going. And again, could be overthinking it, but what if the White Sox, led by Jerry Reinsdorf, said, let's leak that we want to keep Robin Ventura? Okay. Knowing damn well that the fan base and media and everybody's going to go nuts saying, why would they keep this idiot? This team stinks. He stinks. He's going to see all this negative feedback and just say, you know what? I don't want to be here. I don't want to do this. So now Reinsdorf doesn't look like the bad guy having to tell Robin, you need to go away. he goes, well, we tried, it just didn't work out. Let's still be friends type thing. That was the way I read it. I don't see any way they bring him back. I mean, I know they're run by a couple of idiots. I don't see how it's possible that Robin Ventura is managing this team next year. I honestly, I don't see how it's possible.
And yet it seems so possible. Yet it seems like it is absolutely going to happen. And Matt, let's get some of your thoughts on this. Go ahead.
It's actually Ben's thought process there, I think, is a pretty good one, and it's something I wouldn't even have thought about, but it does make sense because Reinsdorf does have that buddy thing where he wants everybody to remain as his friend, and he doesn't want to double cross anybody.
Is he Michael Scott?
He could be. He really could be. And because I don't think there's anybody out there that could sit there and say, yeah, I think Robin Ventura's done a good job. Because he hasn't. And he's looked like a man who's been overmatched. He looks like a guy who doesn't care if I honestly don't think he would care if he got fired. He just seems like if they came up to him and were like, Robin, we think we're gonna move on. I feel like he'd be like, okay. And that would be it. Because from day one, he hasn't seemed like he hasn't seemed like a person who wanted that job anyways.
You know what this sounds like, Ben? Sounds like Matt's talking about the fire and the passion.
Oh God!
Yeah.
And Robin lacks.
Well, didn't he talk about when they offered him that extension after like his first or second year? He said he wasn't sure if he even wanted to do this.
Yeah,
but then ended up agreeing to the extension.
Like, why would you want that guy as your coach or manager or whatever? And I know this makes me sound very meatball-y, but it's true. Why would you want to play for a guy who isn't necessarily committed to being there? So it's just this is so Reinsdorf when you look at the Bulls, you look at the White Sox, you look at how he doesn't seem to want to step on people's toes when it needs to happen. And you see it in the front office with the Bulls, you see it with the front office with the White Sox, you see it now with the manager. I mean, the only time they've ever manned up and had the balls to do anything was to let Thibs go. And that's out of all those people, out of those two front offices and the coaching staffs, Thibs should have been the last person to be let go. But we've talked plenty about how terribly run that team is over the last few months.
So, I mean, lost in this is that Rick Hahn, who everybody keeps calling for his job, is still, at this point, yet to be able to hire a manager.
Yeah.
He inherited Ventura, and now does anybody truly believe that Rick Hahn is in that office pounding on the desk they need to keep Robin Ventura?
No, but
because I feel like he's an actual smart businessman.
But this is Reinsdorf to a T, right? Like
Jerry's world.
Moves Paxson and Kenny Williams out of the GM role into a higher title, but they're still really the GM anyways. So I have a couple thoughts here. Number one is I do think you're overthinking it, Ben. I don't think Reinsdorf's organizations are savvy enough to let stuff leak to the media to then spin it as though, we tried. I think.
You mean they didn't leak anything on Thibodeau? Is what you're saying?
Well, they leaked things on Thibodeau to make Thibodeau look bad because there was some real bitterness there between all parties.
It's kind of the same thing.
Yeah, but I don't feel like they're trying to railroad Ventura like they were with Thibodeau. I mean, they were letting some real nasty stuff leak with like injuries and between Rose and Jimmy and
Ventura because they don't have to sign him. This is like this feels to me just so much like they want the backlash that's going to come with announcing that they might keep Robin Ventura. Because there can't be one Sox fan who's like, yeah, okay, this could work.
So here's the only argument for keeping Ventura. You look at this team. You know this is a team that's going nowhere. You stick it out with Ventura for one more year. He's a lame duck.
But he doesn't have a contract. So he's going to sign a 1-year contract? He's a free agent. So what idiot is going to take a 1-year contract?
Robin Ventura.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, when Jerry's holding the pen for him, writing his name on the contract.
So so they give Ventura 2 years. knowing that they're only going to keep him for one, and then he's a lame duck again, and whatever. I mean, here's the thing. I mean, this is kind of like when the Cubs had who's the manager for before Ricky Renteria for the
Dale
Cubs?
Swain.
Yeah, Dale Swain, right? Like, I think everybody knew like he wasn't the guy. Like he wasn't going to be the guy that stuck it out. Like you just needed a guy that was your stopgap while you're trying to figure out how to build this thing into a winner.
He was the
Right,
guy
like-
you wouldn't feel bad letting go.
Right. And so that's the case for keeping Ventura is you look around and you go, listen, this team's not going to compete. And
But again, this is beyond re-signing, or this is beyond keeping. You're not keeping him. You're re-signing him. Like he's free to go. You don't owe him a penny after this
Right.
season.
But it's easier to maybe for Reinsdorf, maybe he thinks it's just easier to.
Why
keep
would you not
Ventura.
just keep Ricky Renteria then? Give him a chance. He's already under contract.
That's a fair point. I mean, that's a totally fair point.
I mean, if he was at one point good enough to be Theo and Jed's guy, which under different circumstances, obviously, that they took him, then might as well give the guy a shot. He's got to be better than Robin at this point. I mean, I don't know how.
It doesn't make any sense to me. It's not because he's not going to sign a 1-year contract. I don't think he'd even sign a 2-year contract. So you're talking about probably having to give him 3 years at least, I would think, to keep him.
And there's nothing Reinsdorf hates more than dead money.
Right. So you basically have strapped yourself in for 3 more years of Robin Ventura, which I don't understand what that does.
I think it's so telling to see that story today, and you just keep going. They don't have a plan.
No. They have zero plan.
And the worst part is you look at that rotation of Sale, Quintana, and Rodon. I mean that's a legit 1-2-3. An absolutely legit 1-2-3. That you could win a lot of games with that as your 1-2-3, and yet they have just bungled every position on the field that's not pitcher. And
They got a good first baseman.
is he though? Are we sure Jose Abreu is good at baseball?
Yeah.
Because his numbers over the last year indicate that he might just be okay at baseball.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
So you have that though. I mean, what else? There's not a lot else to hang your hat on. Tim Anderson, I guess, is your shortstop, but that's it. And that's the problem. I mean, there's enough pitching there that you wonder could a half decent manager come in there and win a lot of games with those guys? I don't know, but the White Sox just seem lost, and I feel for Sox fans because there's a big part of me that looks at this and goes, well, if they had a manager, maybe they would, and didn't try to sign every old guy under the sun because Kenny loves his old grindy vets. Maybe they wouldn't be talking about trading Sale or Quintana or both this offseason.
This is the 2000 the 2010, 11, 12 Cubs, even 13, basically the year before Theo got here, and then the first couple years of Theo, where it's just old shitty players and no farm system to even hey,
you got your Carlos Peñas and your David DeJesus's,
right. It just you're basically just signing. You're signing veterans to make a lineup.
Yeah, so I think ultimately the White Sox have they have some real soul searching to do. They've got to figure this thing out quick because it's getting late real early over there for this team, unfortunately. And if you're a Sox fan, I mean, you're doing what some Bears fans are, and that's what I call a segue, ladies and gentlemen. You're doing what Bears fans are doing and going, paying money for. Ben, you're a season ticket holder. I was thinking about this on my ride home today for some reason. I have no idea why. Have you discussed with the people you buy season tickets with not having season tickets anymore?
I don't think it's come to that just yet. But I can't imagine it's too far down the road.
I
But
mean,
that's probably for more reasons than they stink.
right. I mean, there's you and the cousin getting older and
Having kids, yeah.
having kids, and it's harder to get out to the games. But I mean, I know you're trying to dump all 8 games this year. Is that right?
Yeah, I think we're just trying to sell to make sure we get at least our money back, and then we'll go from there. So,
I mean, what? So let's start with this from a season ticket holder perspective for the Bears. How long do you like? How long are you willing to hold on and wait this out and keep your season ticket?
I mean, I'm not even close to the point of thinking about getting rid of them. If that's
Do you think
like, it would take a long time. Like if they would have kept going with the Trestman Emery era, like that's different. But again, we're going to get in this debate again. I'm more sold. I can't even say that really. I was going to say I think Pace still needs time. I'm not sold in our coaching staff, specifically our offensive coordinator. I'm not sold with John Fox at this point. He was obviously a pretty well-known, proven coach with Carolina and Denver, but Denver specifically was a much different situation. Carolina, obviously, that was a long time ago when he turned that around. I don't know if this team is meant for a coach like that.
Mm-hmm.
Just an old school, down and dirty coach who has a bunch of young guys who don't know what they're doing. I don't know if he's a fit for this team. So the problem is you maybe have one more year with Fox before you start questioning his job, and then you're back to the whole rebuild thing. I wish at this point, if this was the route they were really going to go, where it really seems like this is like a rebuild without trying to be a rebuild type thing.
Mm-hmm.
I wish they would have just gone full rebuild, cut ties with Cutler, bring somebody in that you could have tried out for a couple of years, just go all out. But instead you're building on the fly. And again, you have what looks like could be an okay defense, or at least some playmakers on defense, but now your offense is just absolutely nothing. So, I don't know. I don't know what to make of them, but yeah, at this point, I'm not ready to give up on them. Like long-term season ticket holder wise, this season's done. Forget it. It's over with.
Do you think it would take a season where you couldn't even sell the tickets? Would that be if you had a season where you didn't sell the tickets and then the upcoming season looked bleak?
Well, here's the thing. That would suck to have that season, but if I couldn't sell them, that means they probably won like 2 or 3 games, which means they probably have like a top 2 or 3 pick, which means they're going to get somebody that people want to pay money to come see. Like if the Bears draft, Deshaun Kaiser or something like that, I haven't looked at them yet. I can't sit here and say one way or the other which quarterback I think might be good or bad, but if they get like Deshaun Kaiser, a Notre Dame kid playing in Chicago, people are going to pay good money to see him play. Which means he'll probably stink, but whatever. But yeah, I one bad season might actually be better for me because they're going to get that young top prospect. So
for sure, Matt, this season is officially over, correct?
Yeah, I mean, it's a team that didn't have a whole lot of talent, and then now a bunch of your talented guys are hurt, and like Ben's point about the offense, and they have a coordinator that I wouldn't say I necessarily trust at this point. I mean, what has Dowell Loggins proven in 3 games that he knows what he's doing? I mean, this offense is awful, and it's like night and day compared to what Adam Gase had. And not that Adam Gase's offense last year was some world beater, but it showed you that Cutler can more than handle himself when he has the right system in place. And it's just there's just everything. It's a mess at this point. And the fact that last week, and I get it, look, the Bears were down 17-0 at one point, 24-3 at one point. You have to throw the football, but no game should have Brian Hoyer throwing the ball 49 times. They threw 49 times and ran the ball, I believe, 15 times or 18 times, somewhere in that range. And it's just their running game's been awful. The commitment to the run is not there at all.
They've run the ball 54 times.
Yeah.
The entire season.
That's in 3 games. That is ridiculous. For a team that's not that good on offense, you should not be throwing the ball that much. And for as much as people want to complain about the offensive line, and I get it, those tackles have been awful, but you have 2 of the best guards in the NFL and a center who's been playing, in my opinion, damn good football, and you're not running the ball. It's just, I don't know. It doesn't make sense. And I thought the first 2 games, the defense held its own. The defense was horrible on Monday night, and being without Eddie Goldman, without Danny Trevathan, obviously hurts what you're trying to do. And the fact that you got Will Sutton, who doesn't fit, playing nose tackle, and a 4th-round pick who missed all of training camp and played half a game in the preseason, starting for you at inside linebacker, Nick Kwiatkowski, like it's a mess. I don't know where they go from here. I mean, I'm sure they're going to win a couple games this year, but I have no idea where those wins come from.
It goes back to 2 things. Number one, just kind of going back to the Pace Fox thing. What I need to figure out, and what we may never know, is whose decision is it to handle these injuries the way they are? Because again, now we have Kyle Fuller, who just went on the IR, probably out for the season, who was injured during the preseason. Oh no, it's not serious. No, it's not serious. I think did he suit up for a game or no?
What was that?
Kyle Fuller.
No, because he had arthroscopic surgery in like the middle of August, and that's the best part. They're saying he was day to day. We'll see how it goes, and
now he's out for the year.
And you have
like Pernell McPhee. You have. Yeah, I mean, then you even go back to like Jay Cutler, who they said that he hurt his thumb in the the opener, and then re-aggravates it or whatever the case may be in game 2. You have all these players who are playing with these injuries and then getting more hurt or just hiding. Like, I don't understand why they're hiding these injuries, and I need to know if this is Pace or if this is Fox, because this it's bullshit. Like, you can't keep doing this and then expect
people to trust what you're doing.
Right. And I get it from their side. Like, they don't care about having the fans trust for the most part. But guess what? At the end of the day, like, if people stop showing up to these things because this team continues to stink and they don't trust their GM, eventually they're going to change the ownership's going to, want them out too.
Yeah. Well, and that's like last week, you look at it and they keep telling you, all right, Cutler doesn't practice all week, but they keep telling you he's day to day. And then Fox gives you this answer on Friday, I believe, last week when they said, well, what's Cutler's status for Sunday? And he says, you'll find out 90 minutes before kickoff when inactives come out. And it's like, come on, you're not giving an edge to the Cowboys by saying he's not going to play, because I don't think anybody in the Cowboys organization thought, you know what, we better prepare just in case Jay Cutler is available. I mean, come on. When reports were out there that he's going to miss 4 to 6 weeks and he's going to miss 6 months, like, he's not going to miraculously just come back when he's been wearing a splint on his thumb all week. So
on a short week, nonetheless.
Yeah. And it's like the same thing today, because Fox was not at practice today. He's sick or whatever. And then it's just funny that so they have Vic Fangio meet the press, do the whole media obligation and stuff, and it's just it's the same exact stuff. They ask him, and he says, "Well, we'll evaluate Jay and see where it goes." It's just like from top down. John Fox has his people conditioned the way he wants them to, or Ryan Pace in this instance. I don't know. Like you said, I don't know if it's him or if it's Fox's decision to do that. So it's a weird and oddly run team at this point, because there's no transparency whatsoever. So it's hard to trust or believe them when they tell you certain things.
Yeah. And just again, going back to, I think we've all kind of said, where do they go from this point? Like, you're to the point, and this is, I think we kind of mentioned this like early before the season started, before I convinced myself that the Bears were back. Like, they're at the point now where they probably have to take a quarterback, but as I mentioned before, now you're missing you could potentially be missing the best player in a draft because you're forcing yourself to take a quarterback. Like if the Bears have the number 1 pick this year, you kind of have to take a quarterback, but you're missing out on like a Myles Garrett or something like that, who is a legitimate game-changing player. Well, at least appears to be that way. Like people are basically saying, yes, this is Von Miller with more size type thing.
Do you have to take a quarterback at the top? I mean, could you target one in the 2nd or 3rd round and feel good about that?
Yeah, I mean, that's always the possibility, but I don't know how that would go over. Again, if you're really sitting there with the number 1 pick and, we all know how these expert, draft guys are going to talk up these top flight quarterbacks. But yeah, I think that's always a possibility. It seems like they've got themselves trapped. And again, how are you going to trade up to get Leonard Floyd? You know what I mean? Like you traded up to get Leonard Floyd, and now the next year you're taking another pass rusher because, well, your big time free agent can't stay on the field. Your other 1st round pick stinks. So now we're going to take one again and hope to God that he's good. So they've just painted themselves in a really bad corner. It feels like so.
Yeah, I look at all of this and I just go, I just don't see any hope for this team in the near future, and that's why I asked you, Ben, about holding on to those season tickets. It just, the going to the games is hard enough as it is, let alone going to games for
watching bad football.
Yeah,
because it's such a commitment. I mean, I've only done a handful with you guys.
I mean, a noon game is a full day.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, what we would leave. I mean, the times I'd be out here with Scott, we'd leave the house at 6:30 in the morning, head out your way, Ben. We'd be at Soldier Field by what 7:30, 8 o'clock, or try to be. And I mean, that's just, you're exhausted by the time the game's over. Luckily for us, I mean, that was the games I went to with you guys. We had some, I don't ever really remember any big blowouts or anything. And I had that incredible Devin Hester streak going where that guy smacked my ass. But it's fine when it's fun and entertaining. It's not fine. And, it's not an enjoyable day when you're sitting there getting your ass kicked and then you got to go trudge back out to the parking lot and go sit in traffic and deal with all that.
Right. Yeah.
I will say I don't know how some people do it. I mean, some people are just so committed to the tailgate, and it's hilarious to me.
Well, and there's a guy I know from Streeter, where I'm from, and from Streeter to Soldier Field, I mean, that's 2.5, 3 hours, depending on traffic, and he has season tickets. And he leaves. I remember him telling me he would leave Streeter around 5 a.m. And think about it. You drive all the way up there. You go to that game. You're tailgating all morning. And then by the time the game gets over, you go back. You tailgate a little bit more. And you're not getting home till 10 o'clock at night. I mean, no thanks. I'm okay.
I wouldn't get home until 7:30, 8 o'clock. And I live, if there's no traffic, I could get to Soldier Field in 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you get out to those tailgate lots, and you just, man, you get people that have customed out vehicles that are strictly for 8 Sundays a year.
Yeah.
You have, I mean, it is just such a big tailgate. I don't know. When we've gone, don't get me wrong, I've had a blast. But like once a year, twice a year is good at most for me, because it's out the door at 7, back in at 7, and I don't know.
I don't need 8 Sundays like that. You know what I mean?
Well, and the NFL is doing just such a great job of marketing Sunday as like the day to watch football, right? Like you can watch football all day long.
Like this Sunday, particularly this Sunday, literally all day long, because they've got the game in London.
And that London game, that's at a 9 a.m.
It's a good one. It's the Colts. Yeah.
Yeah, 8:30 Central kick. So I mean, if you on Sunday want, you'll get a game at 8:30, a game at noon, a game at 3:30, 3 or 3:30, and then a game at 7. I mean, it is nonstop football if you want it on Sunday, which I think ultimately is the NFL's goal. That's why I think they're pushing London so hard. That 8:30 time slot.
Mm-hmm.
That.
Oh, yeah, and it bridges you right into the pregame show, and then pregame show into noon kickoff, straight into 3:30, straight into 7 o'clock. Boom, you've got literally a full day of football. That's like 15 hours worth of football.
Well, and then when you start doing things like, okay, we're going to take on a non-bye week, you've got 16 games. Mm-hmm. Take the Monday night game out, that's 15. Take the Thursday night game out, that's 14. If my local affiliates pick up 2 games, Fox and CBS, I get the London game, 2 games on Fox at noon, or 2 games at noon, Fox and CBS, 2 games at 3, Fox and CBS, and then the Sunday night game. 6 of the 14 games can be on my TV without any kind of a package.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then on top of that, there's Red Zone, which I love Red Zone because it's just NFL as though you're on crack.
Constant. Yeah.
I
never had the Red Zone experience until moving in with Scott, and the fact that I've had the last 2 Sundays during the day free with the Bears playing primetime that I've been able to sit and watch. I just sort of watched in amazement. I'd always heard people talk about Red Zone and finally got to experience. So
what do you think of it overall?
I like it a lot, but then there's times I'm also like because I like following along with games that like I like to see like how a trend is going. So it's hard to sort of keep up if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because it just jumps around so quickly. But the fact that I can watch everything, because before, the way we used to do it, me and my friends and I, somebody always had Sunday Ticket. So then we would watch part of a game. That game goes to halftime. We'd pop to another game, and then we'd find whatever game we thought was the best game of the afternoon, or if there were a couple that were good, flip back and forth. So it's sort of the same concept. But Red Zone, like you said, Scott, it's like football on crack. It just takes it up to a whole other level. So it's cool, but at the same time, it's like it's almost too stimulating for me.
Ben, you're not a Red Zone guy, correct?
No, I just want to watch a game. I don't need to flip back and forth. You don't really get to see like good defense when you watch the Red Zone. It's always, who's about to score type thing. Yeah. They'll probably show I'm assuming they show if there's like a punt return or something like that, they'll show that. But you miss half of a game. Essentially, you miss the defensive side of the ball. So I just like watching a game. Sitting down and watching a game is fine with me.
It's they do every touchdown from every game. Is what they do. That's their thing. So they show everything that happens. I like it, and I don't know. I find as I've gotten older, oddly enough, football has become much more of a casual watch for me, and maybe that coincides with the fact that the Bears have been good 3 times in the last decade, 4 times in the last 16 years.
Yeah.
Maybe that's maybe that's a big part of it, but that's where it's at. All right. So Bears are bad. White Sox are doing things.
I'm gonna have a real interesting Bears tidbit here in a moment, but I gotta find it. But you can continue doing it. I didn't want you to be like, what the hell are you talking about when I pop this up in a few minutes.
Does it have to do with the Bears and Lions?
No.
Okay,
here it is.
Okay.
If the Bears don't go 7-6 from here on out, the 9 of the last 20 seasons will see 10 losses or more, and add in 5 years of 8 or 9 losses. So 15 of the last 20 years have had at least 8 losses. That's not good. That's bad baseball. Baseball. In baseball, that's pretty damn good. That's bad football.
Mm-mm. That's pretty bad stuff. Oh, the Bears are pathetic. At least we got the Cubs. But before we go, we got to do our best bets for Sunday. And I'm looking at this. This is not a week, guys. This is not a lot sitting there that I feel like is. I don't see the low-hanging fruit currently. Starting locally, the Bears are +3 at home. Do either of you
To a
like
bad
the
Lions team.
Do either of you like the Lions? Because I kind of like the Lions.
I kind of do
I mean,
too. And
I don't want to take them.
Here's
But
the thing: Bears are 0-3 against the spread. I would bet against the Bears until they
prove
prove me
they
wrong.
can. Yeah. Hey, can we real quick talk about how my lock of the week last week that was sort of said in jest came through?
Sorry, man. It's a new week. We're not talking about last week.
yeah, Ben really does. Ben really doesn't want to talk about last week. So Ben, anything you like in particular?
I'm with you. Where I look at all these lines, and this really feels like Vegas kind of nailed everything down. Like Cincinnati at -7.5. If they were -7, I would have thought about them.
Yeah.
I like Oakland +3, but then I look to the left, and that's a noon start, and I don't like that as much because they're heading east.
I don't trust that Baltimore team. How the hell are they 3-0?
Denver -3.5, sort of like that.
Yeah,
I'm more than sort of like that. I mean that Bucks team.
I'm with Scott.
If it was
on that
3, I would have really loved it, but
Okay, so we got Denver. We like ish.
road favorites always scare the crap out of me. But whatever.
What about
Oh,
what
there's
about the
actually a
Rams?
decent Monday night game.
What about the Rams against the Cardinals?
I looked at that one, and it's like I don't know what to make of my Super Bowl champion Arizona Cardinals right now.
So
Yeah, and I don't trust. I'm not taking Case Keenum.
all right,
I would
so
never bet Case Keenum.
Or Jeff Fisher for that matter.
I have a little 4-team teaser for you guys.
Okay.
So I'm going to play this out for you here. Hold on. One of my teams fell off. Where did they go?
It's compelling podcasting.
I'm sorry. I had it.
No, we're really good at that. I feel like we're really good at the dead air thing.
There we go.
I can
Okay.
tell you what team I do like for a teaser. If
All right,
we're doing this teaser, would be the New York Giants. If we give them an extra 7 points.
All right, so here's what I pulled actually. Denver +2.5. So tease them 6 points and they become a 2.5 dog at Tampa.
Okay.
I actually did the opposite of what you liked, Ben, and made Minnesota a 1-point dog to New York. So now Minnesota just has to win that game straight up. I don't know. I think
I just could see the Giants winning.
Yeah, I'm with Ben on that.
I don't know. I
mean,
like
that defense is damn good for the Vikings, but the Giants haven't been too bad either. So, and that Giants defense is really good.
And that until Manning had full-on struggle face against the Redskins on this past Sunday at home.
It happens. Okay, what else you got?
The Chiefs against the Steelers teased them 6 points to +11.5.
Okay.
And the Rams at Arizona teased them to +13.5. What do you like? What don't you like there?
Well,
Obviously,
the Steelers just got their ass kicked by the Eagles. They're coming back home. I mean, could they win that game by 2 touchdowns?
Against the Chiefs, I don't know that. Sure.
I mean, could the Cardinals win by 2 touchdowns?
Yeah, I mean, it's this. I'm so bad at this. I mean, no wonder Vegas makes money.
10-point teaser. What is this?
Oh God.
Oh, put that on the Giants. There's no way the Giants are losing by 15.
So here you go. 10-point. Oh no, you can only do a 3-team 10-point teaser. You do a 7-point teaser for 4 teams. So Giants +12, Broncos +3.5, Chiefs +12.5, Rams +14.5. That 7-teamer feels pretty good. A 7-point teaser. And then you get that's at 2-1. So you get those 4 at 2-1.
I just don't like. I feel like the Steelers could just thrash the Chiefs. I don't know why.
I don't know either. I feel like that Chiefs team isn't bad. What are the Chiefs right now?
They're either 2-1 or 1-2.
They're 2-1.
Did they lose in week 3?
No, they lost in week 2 to the Texans.
Yeah,
19.
19 to 12 or something like that.
Okay.
But they handled their business against the Jets on Sunday. 24-3.
And then barely beat
San Diego
Miami.
week 1.
Was it Miami? Who they? No, San Diego. They came back.
San Diego. And then the Steelers on the flip side of that, they're also 2-1. They got thrashed by the Eagles. They beat the Bengals by 8, and they thrashed the Redskins.
Boy, that Eagles thing certainly feels real, doesn't it?
You know, one of the things that I was kind of looking at when we were doing our stuff was, we were talking about how bad the Eagles were. But if you go back to last year, I mean, even as awful as that thing got, they still went 7-9.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's not like
they got talented players.
It wasn't as though like the cupboard was bare there.
It was just some terrible coaching that didn't work and hasn't worked in the NFL.
In retrospect, like you look at that and go, "Wow, that was a 7-9 team with a coach that lost." That team like wasn't listening, and they were a year removed from the playoffs. Correct? Like the Eagles made the playoffs in 2014, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nope, they did not. They went 10-6. They missed out by a game because the wild cards went 11-5. About 20.
So what teams did we pick for our betting?
I mean, I don't know. That's what I mean. Right now, we got the Giants, Broncos, Chiefs, Rams on a 7.4-team parlay, and we don't feel good about it.
I definitely feel good about the Broncos.
Broncos plus 3.5 feels good. I like the Rams plus 14.5, right? Because they could lose by 2 touchdowns. And the Cardinals, are the Cardinals good?
Yeah, they're my Super Bowl pick. Of course they are.
Are we sure they're good?
No, not at all.
Right? Like they lost to the Patriots.
And the Rams just can't score points though. That's the only thing.
They did last week. Scored 37 37 of them last week, I'm pretty sure.
Against the Niners? Who'd they play last week?
The Buccaneers. Where are the Rams? Where's that? Where is
They're 2-1. But they their first 2 weeks they scored like 9 points combined.
Right. They won 37-32. Let's see how they scored last week. There's the weather delay, we know that.
Todd Gurley. He had a couple touchdowns.
Let's see.
They almost lost at the end too.
44-yard pass, field goal, 1-yard run, fumble return, 43-yard pass. I mean, so one defensive touchdown, the rest was offense. So, I don't know. What do you think? I mean, are the Bucks good? I don't think they are.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like
they beat the Falcons, who beat the Saints, and that's all.
The Saints are terrible.
Oh my God! Is this just do we need to just stay away here?
Yeah, this seems like a really rough week.
I like the Broncos.
All right, what if we went?
Unless we just go
what if we? All right, what if we went Giants plus 12, Broncos plus 3.5, Rams plus 14.5? 7-point teaser.
Okay.
That you get the. I mean, at worst, the Rams still have to lose by more than 2 touchdowns. Then.
Yeah.
You're right, though, Ben. Maybe they do lose by more than that.
I'm not saying they are. I'm just saying, like.
All right.
I don't know.
How much do you like the Giants just plus 5 straight up?
That I don't like.
You don't like the Giants? Do you like the Vikings minus 5? No. Okay, that's a stay away. Is there anything we like with the Broncos? This is
with the Broncos?
Yeah, like let's just talk straight lines here. Let's do one $5 bet on a parlay ticket here.
Are we sure? And nobody else likes the the Lions.
I'll jump on it.
It's the Lions, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but the thing is, they put up
Bears.
Points.
They're playing the Bears.
Yeah,
Bears can't score.
Man, are they going to be without Cutler? Are they going to be without Cutler?
Yeah, I would guess.
It doesn't. Yeah. I would guess, and it doesn't matter.
All right, so Lions minus 3, Broncos minus 3.5. We're getting almost 3-1 on that action. I like that. There's your best bet. A Lions Broncos parlay card. Gross. Gross.
So we just
Buzzed
donated
your
money, but that's all
girlfriend.
right.
Woof.
No kidding.
Wait, we didn't give our lock to the week though.
You want my lock of the week?
Ben's is the Broncos. We know that.
No.
What's your lock of the week?
I'm gonna guess Matt's is the Browns again.
Hell,
Matt's just gonna ride the
yes.
Browns train.
I am. I'm all over that. And 7.5-point dogs to the Washington Redskins.
Ben, what's your lock?
My lock.
Doesn't even know. There are no. Just go with the Broncos. That's That's the only one you felt good about.
No. My lock is going to be the Saints Chargers under 53.5.
I love the specificity.
So Ben, I'm gonna jump
That's what
on.
I'll go with.
I'm gonna jump on that train with you and say my lock is the Chargers -4.5.
I almost picked them.
That Saints team is hot garbage, and that Chargers the Chargers might not be bad.
They just screw themselves every week, though. Every week.
Yeah, they should. They'll win that game. I think they win that game by like a touchdown.
Prediction, by the way. McCoy is still the coach out there, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's gonna be fired.
He gets fired. Dow Logan gets fired. Mike McCoy is your offensive coordinator back with John Fox.
Makes sense.
Whatever. I don't care. I hate the Bears. Closing thoughts. Let's wrap this up. Closing thoughts.
Bear down, Chicago Bears.
All right, Matt.
All right.
Matt, we'll start with you. Closing thought.
Go Browns.
Ben, closing thought.
Go Browns.
I'm gonna go with. I miss Cubs baseball being meaningful.
Hey, if we say we're on the Brown train, does that make people think that we just like pooed our pants?
Yeah, but I think they already think that anyway.
They know it already. So, all right, well, that's how we're gonna leave it. We're on the Brown train. Gross. For Ben Russo.
It sounds pretty bad when you say it.
Yeah. For Ben Russo, Matt Yerrick, I'm Scott Stern. Thanks so much for listening. Be sure to check us out and all of our past podcasts on iTunes and Stitcher and all the usual places. Thanks for listening.